Within you lies a vast, untapped reservoir of divine power, silently waiting for your recognition. You were not created to crawl through life, bound by fear, doubt, or limitation. You were created in the image of the infinite, endowed with the same creative spirit that spoke galaxies into being. The power you seek is not outside of you, it is the very essence of your being. Every time you affirm your weakness, you deny the divinity that breathes through your lungs. Every time you claim your strength, you align yourself with the great creative force that governs the universe. The key is simple yet profound. Recognize your divinity. Know, without hesitation, that the infinite intelligence that created the stars also created you, and it did not make a mistake. The world will often try to convince you that you are small, insignificant, and limited by circumstance. But this is the great illusion. You are not a product of your environment. Your environment is a product of your consciousness. Your thoughts are not mere flashes of energy, they are commands to the creative power within you. When you think of yourself as powerless, your inner life mirrors that belief, and your world becomes small. But when you awaken to the truth, that you are one with divine power, the outer world reshapes itself to match that recognition. You begin to move through life not as a beggar seeking favor from destiny, but as a creator shaping it. The divine power within you is not something to be earned. It is something to be recognized and awakened. You came into this world already complete, already equipped with everything necessary to create, to love, to heal, and to rise above every obstacle. The infinite did not withhold its power from you. It placed it at the very core of your being. Yet most people move through life unaware of this truth, searching outwardly for what can only be found inwardly. They beg life for strength, pray for guidance, and chase fulfillment as though it were hiding in some distant corner of the world. But the truth remains unchanged. The power you seek has been within you all along, patiently waiting for your recognition. You do not need to acquire it, you need to awaken to it, to become conscious of what has always been yours. When you recognize the divine essence within yourself, you begin to see that you are not merely flesh and bone. You are spirit clothed in form. You are not a limited human trying to reach God. You are a divine being momentarily expressing through human experience. The moment you accept this truth, you release the heavy burden of trying to prove your worth or earn your place in this world. You begin to understand that worthiness was never a question, for divinity cannot be unworthy. The same life force that flows through the stars flows through your veins. The same intelligence that orchestrates the planet's movements beats your heart. To recognize this connection is to awaken from the dream of limitation and step into the reality of infinite potential. This awakening is not a moment of arrogance or superiority. It is an act of remembrance. It is remembering that you are more than your past, your mistakes, or your fears. It is remembering that you carry within you the creative power of the universe itself. Every word you speak, every thought you dwell upon, every emotion you nurture, is a brushstroke on the canvas of your life. The divine within you paints through your consciousness. If you see yourself as weak, life reflects weakness. If you see yourself as divine, life mirrors divinity. The outer world has no choice but to conform to the image you hold within. Recognition of your divinity is the beginning of mastery. It is the point where you stop identifying with struggle and start identifying with power. You realize that life is not something happening to you, but something responding to you. When you affirm your divine nature, you send a signal to the universe that you are ready to live in alignment with higher law. Circumstances begin to shift, ideas come to you effortlessly, doors open, and what once seemed impossible becomes natural. The divine within you does not operate through force, it operates through awareness. As you become aware, the energy of creation begins to move through you in harmony and purpose. The greatest barrier to awakening this power is self-doubt, the belief that you are small, incapable, or unworthy of greatness. These thoughts blind the mind to truth. The divine cannot flow freely through a consciousness clouded by fear and limitation. But the moment you change your inner conversation, everything changes. Begin to affirm silently, "The infinite is within me. I am one with divine intelligence." Let these words resonate in your subconscious until they become your reality. As you do, you will feel a subtle shift, a quiet confidence that grows stronger each day. You will no longer react to challenges as a victim, but as a creator. You will begin to feel guided by an unseen hand, protected by an invisible presence, empowered by an inner knowing that cannot be shaken. This recognition brings peace, because it dissolves the illusion of separation. You understand that you are never alone, never powerless, never lost. The divine is not a distant force. It is the very life breathing through you right now. To recognize your divinity is to awaken the unlimited power that has always been yours. And once that realization dawns within your consciousness, nothing in this world can hold you back from expressing the fullness of who you truly are. Your thoughts and beliefs are creative forces that shape the conditions of your life. Every idea you consistently hold in your mind is a seed, and your outer world is simply the garden where those seeds take form. What you think about yourself, about others, about life itself, becomes the pattern by which your reality unfolds. Many people believe they are victims of circumstance, but in truth, circumstance is often the reflection of inner belief. The law of mind is precise. What you impress upon your subconscious mind, you express in your environment. Your thoughts are not fleeting wisps of energy. They are living vibrations that attract conditions of like nature. When you think thoughts of fear, lack, and limitation, you set into motion forces that create more of the same. But when you think thoughts of confidence, abundance, and divine harmony, those vibrations draw experiences that mirror that higher state. The mind operates like a powerful magnet, constantly drawing to itself the essence of what it believes to be true. If you continually entertain thoughts of failure, you subconsciously prepare yourself to fail. If you persist in believing that success, health, or peace are yours by divine right, then your subconscious mind begins to rearrange every detail of your life to make that belief manifest. You become what you habitually think, because thought is creative energy taking direction from belief. The outer world is a mirror, faithfully reflecting the images you hold within. Change the image in your mind, and the reflection must change as well. This understanding brings an incredible freedom, for it means you are not at the mercy of the world. You are its creator in consciousness. Every condition you face can be changed by changing the mental pattern behind it. This is not wishful thinking, it is a universal principle. When you learn to control your inner world, the outer world has no choice but to conform. You begin to understand that the power of creation is not somewhere beyond the clouds, but within the very fabric of your thoughts. Each thought carries within it the vibration of creation, and your life vibrates in harmony with the thoughts you most often repeat. The subconscious mind, like fertile soil, does not question the seeds you plant. It accepts them and brings them to fruition, whether they are seeds of prosperity or seeds of poverty, seeds of joy or seeds of sorrow. Therefore, you must guard your mind with vigilance, for it is the gateway to your destiny. Fill it with thoughts of love, success, peace, and divine power. Affirm the good you desire and imagine it as already accomplished. When you visualize your goal with faith and feeling, your subconscious accepts that image as reality and begins to guide you toward its manifestation. You may find new ideas arising in your mind, chance meetings that lead to opportunity, or sudden intuition guiding you to take inspired action. These are not coincidences. They are the natural effects of the creative law responding to your mental state. The great secret is that belief is the activating power behind thought. A thought without belief has no creative force. When you unite a clear image with unwavering belief, you align yourself with the divine law of manifestation. That is why faith is so powerful. It connects your conscious desire with the infinite intelligence that brings it into form. Believe that you are guided, that divine power is working through you, that every good you seek already exists within you, and your world will begin to transform. You do not have to force outcomes or struggle to make things happen. Creation is a matter of mental alignment, not physical strain. The moment you shift your inner vibration, the outer conditions begin to reorganize themselves in harmony with your new state of consciousness. Thoughts are invisible, but their effects are visible everywhere. You are surrounded by the evidence of your most dominant beliefs, and every new thought you nurture becomes the seed of tomorrow's experience. Choose them wisely, feed them with faith, and know that the universe always responds to the nature of your inner conversation. The more you think from your divine center, the more your life will reflect divine order, abundance, and peace. The secret of transformation lies in aligning your mind with the truth of your divine nature. Nothing in your outer world can truly change until something shifts within you. The life you live is a mirror reflecting the state of your inner consciousness. When your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are in harmony with your divine essence, life begins to unfold in perfect rhythm. But when your mind is filled with fear, doubt, and separation, you experience conflict, struggle, and resistance. The transformation you seek whether it be peace, success, healing, or fulfillment, does not come from changing people or conditions. It begins when you align your thinking with the truth that you are a divine being, inseparably connected to the infinite intelligence that governs all creation. The moment this realization takes root, the power that has always been within you begins to express itself without effort. Alignment is not achieved by force or constant effort. It is a state of awareness. It is the quiet realization that you are not a limited human trying to reach the divine, but that you are already an extension of it. When your mind accepts this truth, transformation becomes inevitable. You stop identifying with lack and start identifying with abundance. You stop affirming weakness and begin to affirm strength. You stop fighting life and start flowing with it. The energy that once felt scattered and restless becomes focused and creative. Every thought you think in alignment with your divine nature becomes a seed of power that manifests in form and substance. This inner harmony is achieved through persistent spiritual awareness. The more you meditate on your oneness with the infinite, the more your subconscious mind absorbs that pattern, and your outer life begins to mirror that truth. You start to notice that circumstances which once disturbed you lose their power. The same events may occur, but your response is different because your center of awareness has shifted. You no longer react with fear, you act from wisdom. You no longer chase after peace, you realize that peace has been within you all along. Alignment brings clarity, and clarity brings power. Every transformation begins with a thought that recognizes truth. When you say to yourself, "I am one with divine power," you are not merely repeating words, you are establishing a new mental vibration. If you continue to hold that vibration, it becomes a pattern in the subconscious mind, which then expresses as harmony, order, and success in the physical world. The moment you align your inner belief with divine truth, invisible forces begin to move on your behalf. Ideas come to you at the right moment, opportunities appear effortlessly, and people are drawn into your path who help fulfill your higher purpose. What once seemed impossible becomes natural because you have aligned your consciousness with the law of creation itself. Most people attempt to change life from the outside, trying to rearrange effects without touching the cause. They struggle to fix conditions without realizing that conditions are only the shadow of their thoughts. But once you change the thought pattern, the shadow changes automatically. The key is not to fight against what is wrong, but to recognize what is true. The truth is that the divine within you is whole, perfect, and complete. When your mind agrees with this truth, transformation happens spontaneously. Healing comes, ideas flourish, relationships harmonize, and your environment begins to support your inner state. To align your mind with divine truth is to live from your higher self instead of your limited personality. It means thinking from the awareness of abundance rather than lack, from love rather than fear, from wisdom rather than confusion. Each time you catch yourself thinking in contradiction to your divine nature, gently redirect your thought. Affirm quietly, "Only divine order governs my life. The intelligence within me knows exactly what to do." As you persist, your subconscious begins to accept these new impressions, and your life begins to shift accordingly. Transformation is not about becoming something new, it is about revealing what has always been true. The moment your mind comes into agreement with your divine identity, life responds with beauty, harmony, and power. You begin to live not as someone seeking miracles, but as one through whom miracles flow naturally. Every limitation you experience is born from forgetting who you truly are. A divine being clothed in human form. The moment you lose awareness of your inner divinity, you begin to identify with weakness, fear, and imperfection. You start to believe that you are small, that life is against you, and that circumstances control your destiny. This illusion of separation is the root of all struggle. It blinds the mind to the infinite strength that is your birthright. When you forget that you are one with the divine, you become like a wave that believes it is separate from the ocean. It fights against the current, unaware that its power is the ocean itself. To remember your divine nature is to dissolve the illusion of limitation and step back into the flow of infinite intelligence that governs all creation. Limitation is not a condition of reality, it is a state of mind. It exists only because the mind has accepted it as true. When you think thoughts of lack, you give them power. When you believe yourself to be powerless, you cut off the divine energy that would otherwise move freely through you. Yet the truth never changes. The divine essence within you remains whole, perfect, and limitless. The clouds of doubt may obscure it, but they cannot destroy it. The instant you turn inward and remember who you are, the clouds begin to part and light breaks through again. This is why spiritual awakening feels like coming home, because it is not about becoming something new, but remembering what has always been true. To overcome limitation, you must first recognize that it has no real substance. It is only the shadow of false belief. When you withdraw your attention from the false and place it upon truth, the shadow disappears. Suppose you believe you cannot succeed because of your past. That belief is a form of amnesia, a forgetting of the divine power that transcends time and circumstance. The moment you affirm your oneness with the infinite, that belief begins to dissolve. The divine within you knows nothing of failure or restriction. It operates in complete freedom, guided by law and love. When you remember that truth, your mind becomes a clear channel through which divine ideas flow, and those ideas take form as success, peace, and harmony in your outer world. Every moment you dwell on limitation, you strengthen it. Every moment you affirm your divinity, you weaken it. The energy of your thoughts determines the reality you experience. If you constantly remind yourself that you are guided, that divine wisdom lives within you, that infinite power supports you, the subconscious mind begins to shape new conditions that reflect that truth. You may notice sudden inspiration, a renewed sense of confidence, or unexpected opportunities that align perfectly with your desires. This is not coincidence. It is divine order revealing itself through your awakened consciousness. The power has always been there. Your awareness simply allows it to flow. Forgetting your divinity is like walking through a beautiful garden with your eyes closed. You feel lost, alone, and fearful, unaware that everything you seek is right around you. But when you open your eyes, the garden does not suddenly appear. It was always there. Similarly, when you awaken to the truth of your divine nature, you realize that abundance, love, and peace were never absent. They were waiting for your recognition. The power of life responds instantly to awareness. The moment you know that limitation is an illusion, it loses its grip on your mind and circumstances. To remember your divinity is to restore your natural state of freedom. You begin to live from the center of your being, guided by intuition rather than fear. You move through challenges not as a victim of circumstance, but as a master of consciousness. Even when difficulties arise, you see them as opportunities for greater expression of your divine nature. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin to declare, "This is happening for my awakening." The moment you remember who you truly are, every limitation begins to dissolve like mist under the morning sun, and life becomes the expression of the infinite power that lives within you. Faith, imagination, and gratitude are the tools through which your inner divinity expresses itself in the outer world. These three powers are the bridge between the unseen and the seen, the invisible thought and the visible reality. Faith opens the channel, imagination gives form to your desire, and gratitude seals it with acceptance. When these three work together, they awaken divine energy in your consciousness and allow it to manifest as health, success, love, or peace. Faith is the knowing that the unseen is already accomplished. It is the quiet confidence that the power within you cannot fail. It does not depend on what the eyes see, but on what the spirit knows. Imagination is the language of the subconscious mind, and whatever image you impress upon it with faith becomes your experience. Gratitude is the vibration of completion. It tells the universe, "I already have what I desire," and the universe responds in kind. Together they form the sacred triad of creation. Faith is the foundation because it anchors your consciousness in truth rather than fear. When you believe in divine law, you stop doubting the process of life. You understand that every sincere desire is already answered in the invisible realm. Faith is not hoping that something might happen, it is knowing that it already has. The invisible world is the real world, and when you hold unwavering faith, you are aligning your mind with that reality. Even when appearances contradict your belief, faith keeps you steady. It whispers, "Do not be deceived by the senses." The divine is working through unseen channels. When faith becomes your natural attitude, obstacles lose their power because you no longer identify with them. You know that the creative intelligence within you is greater than any condition. Imagination takes that faith and gives it shape. Whatever you imagine with feeling becomes the blueprint of your reality. The mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. It simply accepts the image you feed it and works to make it real. Every great achievement began first as an idea in someone's mind. Imagination is the womb of creation. It is the way the divine within you expresses itself through thought. When you imagine a new possibility with conviction, you are already creating it in the unseen realm. Picture your desire as already fulfilled, see it, feel it, live it in your inner world. As you hold that image consistently, your subconscious mind begins to attract people, opportunities, and circumstances that bring it into physical form. This is how divine intelligence operates, through mental imagery impressed upon the law of mind. Gratitude completes the process because it signals to your subconscious that your desire is already accomplished. When you give thanks in advance, you affirm your unity with divine abundance. Gratitude lifts your vibration to the frequency of fulfillment, allowing you to receive effortlessly what you have already claimed by faith and imagination. It transforms waiting into knowing and desire into realization. To be grateful before the manifestation appears is the highest form of faith. It says, I trust the process. I know it is done. Gratitude is not a mere feeling. It is a state of consciousness that aligns you with the creative energy of the universe. When faith, imagination, and gratitude work in harmony, you become a conscious co-creator with the infinite. You no longer beg life for blessings. You command them through awareness. You understand that what you hold within must express without, and so you choose your thoughts deliberately. You use faith to believe, imagination to create, and gratitude to receive. This trinity of power dissolves fear and replaces it with certainty. The more you practice it, the more natural it becomes, until miracles are no longer extraordinary events, but the natural outcome of your awakened consciousness. Through these sacred tools, your inner divinity finds its voice in the physical world, and life becomes a continuous expression of the divine power that moves through you. When you recognize your divine nature, fear dissolves, lack disappears, and miracles become a natural way of life. Fear is born from the illusion of separation, from the belief that you are alone, vulnerable, and disconnected from the infinite power that sustains the universe. But the instant you awaken to your oneness with the divine, that illusion loses its hold on your mind. You begin to sense a deeper rhythm guiding your life, a calm assurance that all is well and always will be. Fear cannot exist in the presence of divine awareness, for fear is darkness and divinity is light. When the light of truth fills your consciousness, every shadow of doubt vanishes. You stop reacting to life with anxiety and start responding with wisdom. You understand that nothing can harm the divine essence within you, and because that essence is your true identity, you begin to live with quiet strength and unshakable peace. The recognition of your divine nature also ends the experience of lack, because you realize that the source of all abundance is within you. Lack is not a condition of the world, it is a condition of consciousness. It arises when the mind believes that good must come from outside sources rather than from the infinite supply within. When you understand that you are one with the same creative intelligence that formed the stars, you know that supply, opportunity, and success are expressions of your own divine nature. You no longer chase them. They flow naturally to you. Your consciousness becomes a magnet for abundance, because it is aligned with the truth that the universe is always full, never empty. You begin to move through life with the quiet assurance that everything you need will appear at the right time and in the right way, because divine law never fails. Miracles, then, cease to be rare or extraordinary events. They become the natural rhythm of an awakened life. What people call miracles are simply the visible expressions of divine law working through a mind that knows its oneness with the infinite. When you believe in separation, life appears chaotic and uncertain, but when you live in unity with the divine, everything flows with ease and precision. You begin to see divine order where once you saw confusion, opportunities where once you saw obstacles, and guidance where once you saw silence. Life itself becomes an unfolding miracle, each moment perfectly timed, each encounter meaningful. This awareness does not depend on effort or struggle, it arises naturally from knowing who you truly are. Fear, lack, and struggle were never realities. They were symptoms of forgetting. When you remember that you are a divine being clothed in human experience, your perception changes completely. You no longer interpret challenges as punishment, but as invitations to expand your awareness. You no longer see loss as tragedy, but as the movement of divine order clearing the way for something greater. You no longer wait for miracles. You expect them because you live in harmony with the power that creates them. This is not arrogance, it is truth. The divine within you is infinite, and when you align your thoughts with that infinity, limitation cannot remain. As this recognition deepens, you begin to live from the inside out. You stop reacting to appearances and instead create from awareness. When fear tries to enter your mind, you gently remind yourself, the presence of the divine is within me now, and it knows no fear. When lack whispers its falsehoods, you affirm, infinite abundance flows through me and to me. Every time you return your attention to your divine nature, you reclaim your power. You begin to walk through life not as one seeking blessings, but as one who radiates them. People feel peace in your presence, circumstances bend in your favor, and intuition becomes your constant companion. This is the true state of awakened living, a life guided by inner knowing rather than outer chaos, a life where miracles are not begged for, but recognized as the natural expression of divine law. The more you acknowledge your divinity, the more effortlessly life responds in harmony. Fear fades like a forgotten dream, lack becomes impossible, and what once felt extraordinary becomes beautifully ordinary. You realize that heaven was never somewhere else. It was always within you, waiting for your recognition.